in
There
case.
you go. There it is. He's got it.
Good morning. It's now time to call our meeting of the Bullitt County Board of Commissioners to order. I'd like to welcome the media and visitors. I'd also like to remind everyone to silence their cell phones and other devices so we may conduct the people's business without interruption. Commissioner Nick Newkirk will give the invocation and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Lord, we come before you with humble hearts, grateful for the chance to serve our community. Grant us wisdom and clarity as we make decisions that impact our neighbors. Protect our county, guide us, and let us do all we do in your honor. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Mincy White will call the roll of the commissioners.
I, Venus Mincy White, President as Clerk of the Board of Commissioners of Bullitt County, hereby call the roll for those on the governing body. All those present shall answer by saying aye. Chairman David Bennett.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Toby Connor.
Aye.
Commissioner Ray Mosley.
Aye.
Commissioner Anthony Simmons.
Aye.
Commissioner Nick Newkirk.
Aye.
Commissioner Timmy Rushing.
Aye.
And Commissioner Ray Davis. I've determined that we have all members of the Board of Commissioners present. Therefore, we have a quorum to conduct business for the good of the citizens of Bullitt County. I'll now yield the floor back to you, Chairman.
Thank you. Before I entertain a motion to approve the general agenda, do we have any discussion or modification desired by the county manager or the board? Hearing no discussion, can I have a motion on the agenda, the agenda, please?
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman. Second.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. At this time, I'll recognize those citizens who have signed up to address the board. Once your name is called, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and make your comments. All speakers who are recognized will be allotted 5 minutes.
There are none.
And there is no one signed up to speak this morning. So moving into the consent agenda, I'm going to read through all the things on the consent agenda, and then we can discuss them at the end. Number one, approve the minutes from Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Number two, approve the executive session minutes from Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Number three, approve the reappointment of Marion C. Halsey to the Bullitt County Board of Tax Assessors for a 6-year term beginning January 1st, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2031. Number four, approve the reappointment of Teresa Jackson and William Matthew Daughtry to the Bullitt County Board of Elections and Registration for 4-year terms commencing on January 1st, 2026 and ending on December 31st, 2029. Number five, approve the reappointment of Doug Lambert, Beth Matthews, and Tal Johnson to the Development Authority of Bullitt County to 4-year terms to serve beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2029. Number six, approve the purchase of a 2026 Chevy Colorado from Allen J. Fleet Sales in the amount of $33,660.15 for the tax assessor's office. Number seven, approve the awarding of the tree removal project for the Statesboro Bullitt County Airport to Georgia Forestry Mulching, LLC for $19,500. Number eight, approve a Jarvis Rec software agreement for Splash in the Borough 2026 season pass sales in the amount of $12,000. Number nine, approve sole source purchase of a Hamilton T1 ventilator from Hamilton Medical in the amount of $16,500. Number 10, approve the purchase of 12 Q-Core Sapphire multi-therapy IV pumps from Cardiotronics in the amount of $20,693.43. Number 11, grant a 2026 alcoholic beverage renewal license for packaged retail beer and wine sales and pouring sales of beer, wine, and liquor to certain establishments with a current license. Number 12, approve a resolution to acquire by eminent domain parcel 2A for the Hightower Road paving project. Number 13, approve a resolution to acquire by eminent domain parcel 4 for the Hightower Road paving project. Number 14, approve a resolution to acquire by eminent domain parcel 19 for the Hightower Road paving project. Number 15, approve a resolution to provide temporary tax relief for eligible standing timber. Number 16, approve an option and lease agreement with Skyway Towers LLC. Number 17, approve a payment of an invoice from Excelsior Electric Membership Corporation, number 1022025-01, dated October 29, 2025, in the amount of $77,695.81 for utility relocation costs associated with Bullock County's active roadway drainage and paving project, FY 25 CP-E02, Two Chop Road and Banks Creek Church Road. The cost for this invoice will be funded by T-Splost. Number 18, approve a resolution for the location of capital improvement project Old Happy Road design and paving that includes the paving of Count Road 316 Old Happy Road. The cost for this work will be funded by T-Splost. Motion to approve an MOU between Ogeechee Technical College's Department of Adult Education and the Bullock County Correctional Institution to provide adult literary services for incarcerated adults. We can approve these items collectively, or we can move any item to new business for further discussion. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to move on number 5, 12, 13, 14.
Number 5, 12,
Yes, 13 and 14.
and 14, okay? So with the exception of number 5, 12, 13, and 14, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Second.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to new business, we're just going to go ahead and start with the items that are on the consent agenda first. We'll do number 5, approve the reappointment of Doug Lambert, Beth Matthews, and Tal Johnson to the Development Authority of Bullock County for 4-year terms to serve terms beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2029. So I'll give you some background on this. Originally, when the Development Authority asked to reappoint these individuals, I asked that 2 of them not be reappointed because of the length of time that they have served. Those individuals were Beth Matthews and Mr. Doug Lambert. Ultimately, what it came down to after some discussion with the Development Authority director and their chairman, they have some projects going on that they would like for these 2 individuals to continue on with that they've been directly involved with. Beth Matthews has agreed that once she completes what she's working on with there, that she will resign from the board so that someone else can be appointed in her spot.
I make a motion we approve.
I just got some discussion on that.
Okay?
I have no issue with these 3 names. I know some of them I know I know, and the rest of them I don't, but I have no issue with that. But whenever, I think, we don't need their approval to approve names for the Development Authority Board, do we? I mean, this is strictly on us, right?
No, it's not like the hospital authority where under that hospital authority, they by law send 3 names and y'all pick one.
Okay.
This is not the case. No, you could appoint whoever you want to.
Okay. I just feel like whenever we request 2 or 3 new names like you did, I mean, I understand they have some stuff going on, but I feel like would the chairman ask a board to give you 3 or 2 new names at least, leave one person on there, I think that's something you should do. We are elected by the people to stand for the people, and that was not done in this case. So I have a big issue with that it feels like it's a slap in the face for the citizens of Bullock County when they don't ask or do something that we politely ask for. So that was all I had to say. And I'd like to make a motion, or that's right, a motion's already been made.
Do we have a second for the motion?
I thought there already was a motion in
There
a
was a
second.
motion to approve as they are. Do we have a second?
All right.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 5-1. He voted. I'm sorry, 6-1. My math ain't mathing right this morning. Okay, moving on to item number 12. Approve a resolution to acquire by eminent domain parcel 2A for the High Tower Road paving project. Mr. Ron Nelson, are you in?
Ron Nelson, County Engineer.
Good morning. I just want to make sure, and I've already talked to Jeff a little bit about this, on these, three eminent domains. I know that's a big thing for the county to go out and take somebody's land. I believe two of these were because they had title issues, and the third person we couldn't just get a hold of. Is that the way this worked on this one?
Yes, sir. I like to yield to County Attorney Jeff Akins to maybe give a better, more definitive response.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, two of them, had some title issues, and then one, just was not responsive.
Okay, so it wasn't like we're trying to go against their wishes, we just couldn't get the title in the other.
No,
one.
but let me say this, I mean, there's gonna be future cases where you will be going against, maybe going against somebody wishes.
Yeah, I understand
But if you're
that.
gonna, if you wanna pave a road, you know, you couldn't let, or at least I would advise not allowing one person who's a holdout to hold up the entire project. So,
Yeah, I understand that. I just
Yeah,
want to make
okay.
sure on these three that was not the case on this. That was it.
No, I
just
don't
wanted
think
to
it's
get
the case
clarification.
here.
All right, appreciate it.
Yeah, same thing. I'm glad Mr. Newcock threw them off. He beat me to them, but, I don't want the image of this county showing that we will use eminent domain just as a normal tool. It's not. We're not, I personally will not. But in this part, just to be clear to the county that these all have title issues, and it's actually the quickest way to clean up those title issues is doing it this way.
Yes.
I mean, that's
Yeah, I mean, that's really about the only option.
so it's not that we're sitting here trying to throw power out there on people. We're sitting here, this is just what the best way to go
That's
about
right.
this is.
That's right.
I just want to reassure everybody when they've seen this, it's not something that we intend to, make habit of. So just want to clear that up. Thank you, Ms. Newcomb, for pulling
Okay.
them off.
All right.
I'd just like to say also, working with J&T, who's doing our right-of-way acquisition, we exhaust every opportunity to go through. And once we see things are non-responsive, one of them was non-responsive for an excess of 4 months. So obviously, we move through the next course of action, and that's contact and go through Jeff Akins.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to get that clarified in public. That was it. Appreciate it, Ron.
And I would like to state that this has been an ongoing thing for years and years. This is not a knee-jerk reaction by the county that, and everybody that lives on that road is in favor of it other than the non-response. So this is not a knee-jerk reaction. It's been for, I'm talking about 20 years probably.
Yeah, I will say, go along with, Mr. Rushing, this is a road that's been on the list for a long, long time. And majority of the people out there, really want this road paved. And, I'm just glad to see that we're making some progress on it.
Ron, just for the record, could you tell us how long we've been working to get High Tower Road paved?
Since I've been here for the last 2 years, I know it's been just
It's
continued
been-
on, but I know beyond that, it goes back at least 10.
10
And I'll go
years
back
or
to what
more.
Commissioner Rushing was saying, probably 2 decades at this point, honestly.
Well, the road has been paved over halfway down in front of, it's in front of the Georgia Southern, which used to be Meadow Lakes Golf Course. It's paved
Yeah.
all the way down through Mr. Jimmy Carty's used to be land, and then it just stopped. So all this is doing is bringing it from there on to Burkhalter Road.
That's correct. Making that connection. That's correct.
Any other discussion on this item? And again, we're on number 12. Jeff, can we do them all
I
collectively?
think you need to do them individually.
Okay, so we'll
Yeah.
just do them individually. Can I get a motion to approve a resolution to acquire by eminent domain parcel 2A for High Tower Road?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to 13, approve a resolution to acquire by eminent domain parcel 4 for the High Tower Road paving project.
So moved.
Any further discussion on this item? All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to number 14, approve a resolution to acquire by eminent domain parcel 19 for the High Tower Road paving project. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll call for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, sir.
All right, now moving on to the new business.
Chairman, I need to take this opportunity to recuse myself.
Yes, sir.
Because it's my seat.
Mr. Rushing, if you would, you can go ahead and have a seat in the audience. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 1 in new business. Motion to approve the reappointment of Timmy Rushing to the Development Authority of Bullock County for a 4-year term beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2029. Any discussion on this item? And just to give some background on this, again, Mr. Rushing was originally appointed by this board to the Development Authority to fill out the remainder of Commissioner Kurt Deal's term when he resigned last year. This will be a new appointment for him to take a full term as the Commissioner's representative on the Development Authority Board. Any discussion on this item?
Motion to approve.
Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Rushing. Moving on to item number 2, County Attorney Jeff Akins, motion to approve a resolution to request local legislation to change the number of members and the method of appointment of members on the Bullock County Board of Elections and Registration.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. At its meeting on November 10th, the Bullock County Board of Elections and Registration adopted a resolution, which you have in your packet, requesting the commissioners to request local legislation in the General Assembly that it would expand the Board of Elections from 3 to 5 members and change the method of appointment to allow the local parties to submit nominations for 2 of the seats. The presented resolution requests Bullock County's local legislative delegation in the General Assembly to sponsor and support such local legislation. The local political parties would each be allowed to submit up to 5 nominees for 1 seat no later than 90 calendar days preceding the date on which the member is to take office. However, the commissioners would not be required to appoint one of the nominees if you determine that none of the nominees on the list are suitable for appointment to the Board of Elections. The 2 new members would be appointed for an initial term of 1 year, commencing on January 1st, 2027, and ending on December 31st, 2027. Thereafter, they would be appointed for 4-year terms, and this would maintain the staggered terms for appointments with 2 members serving concurrent terms and 3 members serving concurrent terms. And this assumes, of course, that, number 1, that the General Assembly passes the local legislation that you recommend without changing it, and number 2, that they pass it in the next session so that it would become effective. Now, it would actually become effective January 1st of 2027, except for purposes of making the 2 appointments. It would become effective July 1st, 2026. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. I'll say this, the Board of Elections and Registration was created in 2009 by local legislation, which is the way it has to be done. Prior to that, the probate judge, as in many counties, served as the election superintendent. But now, and we also had the voter registrars who handled registration. Now, this board, for the last 15 or 16 years, has handled both elections and registration, and it is technically the election superintendent for Bullock County.
And I'll just add to that, currently that board is made up of 3 individuals. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, this would increase it to 5.
By that, just having 2 of them having a conversation outside of a regular meeting meets the standard for the Open Records Act of them having a quorum. Is that correct?
Yeah, two is a quorum on the current board.
So that's problematic for them.
Well, it could be, yeah, but I don't know of any problems we've had with that, but yeah.
So the 2 would come from 2 parties, or
Well,
one party will get?
no, and the way it defines parties is whichever parties had at least I think it's 20% of the election results in the previous election for governor. I think that's what it is. Let's see. Yeah, it's the two parties who received the largest number of votes for governor in the previous election, and the party who received the second largest number of votes. So it doesn't, and the state law also defines parties similarly. It doesn't name the Democratic and Republican Party, but in fact, those are the two parties that, unless something substantially changes that will, but each party will nominate up to 5 individuals for one seat. So they could send you 5 names and you would only pick one of them for one seat. They could send one name. They could not send any names, but I wouldn't expect that. I would expect them to, because they view this as, and there's a lot of boards around the state where the parties do have input on the appointments, and so they just
You
kind
got me lost again here.
Sir?
So are we going, so is the Republicans are going to send 5 names? We're going to have to pick 2?
No. You would pick one.
We pick 1, and so the Democrats will send 5 if that's the 2 parties that, with the
Right.
majority.
You would pick out of the Democratic
So
nominees
it'd be
for
1
one
seat for each party, pretty much.
That's right.
Okay, that's what I
right.
wanted to know.
Yeah. But again, you retain the ultimate, if they send 5 names and you don't think any of them are suitable, you could pick somebody else, but I don't think that's gonna be very common, yeah.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a motion to approve or disapprove.
Or you could table if you want to think about it. If you want to do it, we just need to get it introduced in the next session, and you can introduce it, you can do introduce it before the session, and that kind of helps it move along quicker. But we would not need to talk to probably Lehman Franklin and Billy Hickman about it.
So, question,
Yes, sir.
who would send these names in? Both parties would send 5 names in,
Yeah, that's right. Up to 5 names,
and when would they do this?
at least 90 days prior to when the appointment will take effect. So,
Well, it's,
and it's January, so they would have to send them by October 1st.
well, it seems.
And if they
pretty-
don't, then you're not required to consider them.
Well, it seems pretty clear that the only thing we need to do is just kind of vote on it and let them go ahead.
Well, we've got to get all we're voting for today is to approve the resolution to go to the state.
That's right, to recommend this local legislation, yeah.
And the advantage to approving it today is we would have a full month to discuss this with the local legislative representative body before they go into
Yeah, I
session.
mean, the earlier you approve it, the sooner you can move it along, yeah.
I make a
Now,
motion-
again, they don't have to do, they always have pretty well, if y'all are unified in what you want, I've always found that they're usually willing to do it. But they don't have to. You need to understand that. This doesn't tie their hands either, so they could say, well, we don't think that's a good idea, or we don't want to do it, or we want to change it. But I wouldn't expect that.
And I believe Mr. Simmons made a motion on the floor.
Yes, sir. I make
To
a motion.
To approve.
Second. All in favor? Mr. Davis was the second. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 3, County Engineer Ron Nelson. Motion to approve a contract with Sykes Brothers Incorporated in the amount of $615,063.15 to approve the scope of work associated with FY 26-CP-E07 OTC Connector Road. The cost of this work will be funded by the 2019 SPLOST.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This will basically be a 3rd installment. And to give a little history background on this, this is a new Ogeechee Technical College building. that's being put together as part of their campus along 301 South near A.J. Riggs Road. Just as a reminder, during its regular meeting on October the 15th, 2024, the Bullock County Board of Commissioners previously approved a request from Ogeechee Technical College for funding assistance in the amount of $1 million for road construction to be paid for by the 2019 SPLOST funds. Additionally, during its regular meeting on November 19th, 2024, the board previously approved a contract with EMC Engineering Services Incorporated in the amount of $38,500 to perform professional engineering design services for the construction of a connector road between Earl Dabbs Drive and US 301 South for access to the new OTC ISIR Training Center. Again, this to be funded by 2019 SPLOST funds. Also approved by the board, I didn't include it in my write-up, but we approved a $60,000 request for in lieu mitigation fee back in June of this year. So that was in addition to the previous request. So this request ultimately comes down to, we did a procurement for a contractor to actually build this road. This road is a little over 550 feet in length. It will connect Earl Dabbs Drive to US 301 South. It'll intersect US 301 South about 635 linear feet north of A.J. Riggs Road along US 301. The end results of our bid process, we had 10 competitive bids that were submitted, and the low bid, again, was Sykes Brothers Incorporated, $615,063.15. And based upon the tabulation of the bids, the County Engineering Office recommends approval of the low bid submitted by Sykes Brothers Incorporated to perform the scope of work associated with FY 26 CP E07 OTC Connector Road. And the cost of this work, again, will be funded by 2019 SPLOST. Any questions?
What's the timeline on this construction? Is it gonna be done before they get the building finished up?
That's what we're up against at this point. We've got 180 days that we're allowing the contractor to build, so as soon as we can get them on the ground, get them going, we're anticipating next August having this one completed.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion on this item? Hearing none, I'm gonna call for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Nelson, I believe you're up for number 5 as well. Motion to approve a change order on contract FY 25-CP-E10 with EMC Engineering Incorporated in the amount of $32,500 to provide professional services associated with construction management and construction inspection during the construction delivery phase of FY 26-CP-E06 Register Fire Station Number 3, new driveways and new parking facility. Cost of this work will be funded by T-SPLOST. I skipped one, didn't I? Okay, well, let's do number 5. What's that?
That's fine with me, Mr. Chairman, absolutely. So, yes, sir, so this one will be associated with, as the chairman said, the new construction of new driveways and parking facility at our Register Fire Station Number 3 location. Basically, the engineering office has requested this fee proposal from EMC Engineering, who coincidentally also did all the design and engineering work as well, to provide project management and full inspection services. Will not include testing services. The testing services will be with Sims Construction and Paving. They are the contractor of record. So we've got to move through this scenario, and really the reasoning behind it is we want to have 100% inspection and project management. This is a reinforced concrete parking facility, and it's going to require someone being there, boots on the ground, continually inspecting the job to make sure we get the quality product that we're looking for. So the engineering office definitely recommends approval of this $32,500 contract with EMC Engineering to provide project management and inspection services. Any questions?
No questions. I would like to state that the reason for this reinforced is because of the fire trucks being so heavy. I think we had a big issue at Stilson. We had to go back in and bust the floor. Well, just towed it out. It was busted all to pieces and re-poured the floor, so that's the reason that concrete is.
Hearing no discussion on this item, I'll call for a motion.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. All right, going back to number 4. County Engineer Ron Nelson, motion to approve a change order on contract FY 25-CPE09 with EMC Engineering Incorporated in the amount of $72,500 to provide professional services associated with construction management and construction inspection during the construction delivery phase of FY 26-CP-E07 OTC Connector Road from Earl Dabbs Drive to US 301. The cost for this work will be funded by using 2019 SPLOST funds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this one there again, similarly to the Register Fire Station we just got through discussing, this location at OTC, this new connector road, is going to require 100% boots on the ground, full-time project management and construction inspection throughout the delivery phase. We are tasking the contractor, which will become Sykes Brothers Incorporated, with the testing of the materials. However, we do need full-time inspection, and we need project management services to be provided on this project. There again, similar to what you asked Commissioner Newkirk about what's the delivery time frame, we also need that incentive as well to ensure we deliver this project in a timely manner for OTC prior to their starting classes. So we've got 180 days, and we want to make sure we get this done right. So the engineering office definitely recommends $72,500 for project management inspection services, and the funding for this will be out of the 2019 2019 SPLOST.
And that's part of the $1 million that
That's
is this
correct.
something different, or is this part of that $1 million?
Part of that same $1 million, so that'll be the 4th installment, and we will have essentially, after the previous contract bid award to Sykes Brothers for $615,063.15, we will still have a remainder of $286,436.85 to pay for this $72,500.
Okay. What happens if we don't use all that money? Does that roll back into the county that we can use, or is it guaranteed to go to them, the full $1 million?
I believe we just guaranteed up to $1 million to build that road. So if we don't spend it all, then it stays with the county for economic development purposes.
Okay, appreciate it.
Any other discussion on this item? Hearing none, I'm gonna call for a motion.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Item number 6, Assistant Public Works Director, Mr. Robert Siemens. Motion to approve the purchase of 2 John Deere tractors with Tiger Bingle boom mowers via a Sourcewell contract with Ag Pro Marietta in the amount of $232,620.04 each, for a total of $465,240.08 to be paid from T-Splost.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Commissioners. Come before you this morning to recommend and request consideration for a motion to purchase 2 2026 John Deere 6M105 tractors with Tiger Bingle mower units in the amount of $232,620.04 each through Sourcewell contracts with Ag Pro out of Marietta. These will be purchased through T-Splost funds. The anticipated delivery date for boom mower number 1 is around April 2026. The second boom mower is not going to be delivered until around October of 2026. Both units will be used in the Public Works Transportation Division to perform vertical mowing along both paved and dirt road right-of-ways. I'll answer any questions.
Robert, we got 2 now, right?
We have 4 of the Mower Max units and we've had a lot of difficulty with those. I know since the 2 years I've been here, we've struggled keeping them on the road. And all of them have timed out on their warranty, and instead of going back with those units, we're proposing going back to the tractor-mounted units.
But I said, so haven't we got 2 tractor-mounted boom axes
No, sir.
that y'all, I thought y'all had some you cut?
We used to have some. Those were surplused out a while back.
Yeah, I remember the mower maxes, but I thought we had 2 that
Yes, sir.
run around and caught odd jobs. I understand.
Right.
Will we plan on run all 6 units, or are we just gonna cut back on 2 of the Mower Maxes, or what's this, what do y'all think
We're
on
gonna
that?
run the mower maxes as long as we can until we either determine this is going to be a permanent fix to where we stay with the tractor units. There are 2 other companies out there that have introduced similar units as the Mower Max, but they're still in their infancy stages, and we don't want to just rush out there and make a quick decision on this. We know the tractor units from our past experience can do the work.
Okay. Is this, were y'all originally planning on buying 2 units this year for your CIP, or is this something y'all swapping over? Is this coming out the CIP money, or?
This will be coming out of our CIP funding. We are not increasing that amount. We're taking and deleting some items that will move to next year's budget. This is still coming from the original money amount that was allocated.
Okay.
I really don't have a question for you, Mr. Robert, but, oh, go ahead, Mr. Davis, you go ahead.
Just curious, the problems you're having with these previous mowers, is it the mowers, is it the hydraulics, or is it the tractor itself?
The units themselves that transport the mower unit seem to be okay, with the exception of air condition. However, most of the damages that we're having to cover between warranty and us paying out of pocket for are from the boom and stick out to the mower heads themselves. We've actually had several of the booms that have ripped apart like a tuna fish can. I mean, just peel it back just from the sheer force. So we've seen a variety of issues. Most of it is from the mount out to the mower head that we're really struggling with. It's like it's not engineered heavy enough.
And these new implements are heavier structured?
Yes, sir. These are units that have proven themselves in the past, and we've had similar type units before in the past.
And I was in on the purchasing of the mower maxes, and the best I remember, they were like $250 a piece, $250,000 a piece.
Yes, sir. They're considerably more.
Yeah.
I just want to say that me and Dink has been over this time and time again and have worked it through numerous years and numerous harvest seasons. Seems like this always flares up on us about this time. And we've got an idea of how to utilize these mower maxes. We're going to attempt to it. We don't know if it's going to work. But the tractor units has worked in the past. They're slower. They are, but they work. Kind of went out there and tried something new, tried to be more efficient, tried to be better for the citizens. Just had a hard time paying off. It's costing us more now that they're out of warranty and things like that. There's not a wrong or right here. There was something that we tried to do better, and just sometimes it just don't pan out because we're the first ones that really tried it, So we've got an idea, and we've been going over this for at least a year and a half. And we got where we think we can make this work, but as of right now, as far back as we are, we've got to have something that's, no matter if it's slower, we got to have something that's more efficient. And these tractors have proved themselves in the past. And I know me and Dink, like I said, we have beat our head against the wall about this thing.
Yeah, actually, the tractors that we're talking about buying, we used to use years ago, and the booms on them were dramatically stronger. They're more like backhoe booms or excavator booms. They're stronger and they hold up or better. One of the main things I wanted to mention was Mr. Davis' question of the units themselves. And one thing we've noticed is the tractors themselves seem to be in reasonable condition. It's the booms and the mowers and the hydraulics sometimes with the the boomstick. But one of the things that we're gonna try to do is put these two tractors on the dirt roads with one mower max per, so it'll be a tractor and a mower max on the dirt roads cutting vertical. We're trying to plan to put one of these mower max machines on the right of way with installing a front mower deck on it and using it to cut grass along with the mowers on the sides of the road, which may extend the life of that unit and actually carry the boom with it and use it in limited situations. Those will be the extended boom ones that have caused us the most problems because of the length of the boom. And we'd be able to use it to cut around the bridges, to cut anything that is encroaching out on the paved roads, give us a little better service. And we would be getting ground surface cutting at the same time as we're traveling. So we're trying to make the best use out of those machines that we can. They got Cummins motors, which is what we found is servicing the best for us in trucks and equipment that we can. It has the least amount of emissions problems as far as maintaining those machines going forward. So I just wanted to mention that we are looking at being able to use those machines more long-term without having the problems of the booms, so.
Any other comments or discussion on this item? Hearing none, I'm gonna call for a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Siemens, you got item number 7 as well. Motion to approve the purchase of a 2026 Caterpillar backhoe loader by a Sourcewell contract to Yancey Brothers Company in the amount of $169,951 to be paid by T-Splost.
Yes, sir. That is correct. We are requesting this backhoe unit. This is a new unit. This will not be a replacement. The unit will be used in Public Works Transportation Division to perform needed work and repairs along paved and dirt road right-of-way areas. The backhoe has an anticipated delivery date of approximately June of '26. This will be paid for out of T-Splost money and was part of our, or is part of our CIP budgeted funds this year. The reason this will not be a replacement unit, we will take the backhoe that's currently being used in this area and move it over to the grading routes and ditching routes, and will help to formulate the third ditching route. It'll be part of the tools over there.
How many hours is on this previous back? Because I know Willie has Mr. Fail has drove it up and down that low boy 12 million times if he drove it up there one time. Just curious, because you don't know who I'm talking about. When you see the truck coming with flashing lights and he honks at the kids in the yards and stuff like that and got the backhoe on it, he works for us, works for the county, and a great employee. But if he's loaded that thing on that trailer one time, that same backhoe, he's loaded it 12 million times. Had to be.
Yes, sir, and that is our newest unit also. That's a 2019 unit, and right now he's sitting at 5,165 hours on it. Like I said, we're not gonna get rid of it. We're gonna roll it into the ditching crews and put it over there. With
And for those that don't know, 5,000 hours is a lot on a machine. It's a lot on a tractor. It's a lot on you're in the problem zone then, and could be major, it could run to 10,000, 11,000 hours. So, that goes to show you we're taking care of our machines, and to get that kind of service out of them, especially the booms, and I know how much it's been worked, especially through the storms and everything else we've had. So, that's hats off to Mr. Robert and Dink and the entire service department and everybody that Public Works to keep the equipment up.
Yes, sir. I went back and looked just for information for you. Currently, after this has rolled off of warranty, we have only incurred $15,000 in the past since 2019 on it. So we're sitting real good with it right now.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
with what labor costs to fix something, with what parts cost to fix something, if you can get them, looks like here you got 84 months, which is a 7-year warranty on this machine.
Yes, sir.
So that's imperative. That's a great plus in what we're doing here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. CAT works really well with us on their warranty programs. We get great response. They're located right here in Bullitt County, and we can make one phone call to the main guy out there, and we will be seen about.
Any other questions, comments on this item? Hearing none, I'm gonna call for a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a second. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
That concludes all our new business. I just want to go ahead and let the public know that our new county manager has requested that each one of the departments within the county submit a report just to give some basic status type information as far as what's going on. That is part of this agenda packet. We will not be discussing it in here, but it is available for you to review as well. I will caution you, though, when you go to look at that packet, if you try to print it out, it's about 330 pages, I think. So I don't want you to go killing a whole tree to look at it. If you just want to look at something online there, it might be a little bit easier for you to do. That takes us into commission and staff comments. So we'll start with the staff. Mr. Eldridge, do you have any comments?
Yeah, just real quick. We do have some more storm reimbursement checks. We should pick up another 2.5 to 3 million before the end of the year. And we got another 7.8 million that are in the process of being finalized. So reimbursement's still 6 months, but at least we know that's in the pipeline. Also, I don't know, it's the first week or two I was here, ran into our DCA, Department of Community Affairs rep, mentioned they had 25 million in grant money sitting around, and we found a project, Metz Road. I don't know the full amount, but we got a grant application for that too. So that should be hopefully some additional money because they were scrambling. They wanted to get that money out the door. Two, just ask the commission, take a good look at the financial reports so you can kind of see our performance related to budget across all the departments, and you can see where we're at. We're also working on, kind of lines up with the departmental reports. GIS is helping us out with a new dashboard that we'll get up online. It'll list all our projects and kind of where we're at compared to budget, deadlines, and everything else. So both internally and the public can see our process. We also started. I brought this from prior job, but a fun one for the employees. But I also wanted one thing, in the interview process, want to let everybody know a little better job of communications. So instead of hiring a person to help dial out, we're all going to help dial out. Doing a photo submission program, just $100 to the best photo from any employee of us doing some good work around the county. So something fun, but it also has the dual benefit of giving Dow a lot of content. And hopefully we can start putting more information out there for public to see all the good work that we are doing. Jail expansion, I think both those RFQs, one's live, the other one will be live.
Yeah, the other one we're still working on, but the architect is out there. The contractor, we will get out as soon as we can.
Okay, so probably today or tomorrow. So that's starting the process for the jail expansion. Y'all all know that was part of the SPLOST, the biggest project we got sitting out there. So this is starting the process of getting an architect and a general contractor at risk on board. So we need to get going because, as y'all all well know, the money's in the bank. We need to be spending it. So IRS starts paying attention after a while, how much interest we're earning on that. And then just me personally continuing to meet members in the community and scrambling around and doing all that while trying to keep us moving forward. And I've told Ron, go, 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 and as the agenda shows, he's going.
And just to clarify, as those funds come in from the EPD from FEMA and GEMA to reimburse us for the storm stuff, that fund will go back in to rebuild our reserve funds, is that correct?
Yes, it goes back to wherever it was spent.
Any other comments from the staff?
Ron Nelson, County Engineer. So just real quick, just want to make a mention. There is an active GDOT project. I think it was brought up last meeting as well. It's on State Route 119 over the Ogeechee River. Just real quick highlights on it. So this project is awarded to Griffin Grading and Concrete. It is, again, a Georgia DOT, 100% state funded. County has nothing to do with it whatsoever as far as funds or anything. The project is just under $25 million in value. The completion date is August 31st, 2029. And the local office here, Georgia DOT, they'd be willing to take any phone calls you may have about that particular project. Their phone number is 912-871-1103. That's it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other staff comments? I want to ask a question, but I don't know if you can answer it right now. Okay, we'll wait. Okay. Any commissioner comments? Mr. Davis?
I'd like to recognize Mr. D. Crosby. He's been elected to a state position. D, come up here and tell us how you got elected and what you got elected to.
Good morning. What it is GRPA, Georgia Recreation Parks Association. You get appointed by the past presidents of the association. Right now, we have a membership of right under 5,000. It's with all GRPA recreation professionals, vendors, and so forth. With this job as president, I'll oversee pretty much the state, what we do with all functions of recreation. We have a few meetings set up at the Capitol that I'll be attending to work on certain things, the vessel bill. We have the big booth grant that we have right now that I'll talk to you guys about for after-school programs and other such things anything that has to do with recreation for the state of Georgia. It'll be a one-year term. I started off as Secretary-Treasurer, Vice President, and this year for 25. I was president-elect in 26. I served as president, and then 27 last year as past president within the association. It's a huge honor for me. One thing that I do want to let you guys know is Bullitt County. Right now, we are the leading county for the state of Georgia. With my appointment, I am the 6th director from Bullitt County to serve as president, and the closest county in the state is 3. So we're the leading county for anything that we do recreation, and it's a huge honor for me to sit here and represent Bullitt County on the state level. Any questions? Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Appreciate
Thank y'all for y'all support.
We appreciate your work, sir.
you.
Amen. Good night.
Any other staff comments? Mr. Hendricks, you look like you want to talk about something.
Unless you got a question.
Okay, no. Any commissioner comments?
Well, it ain't really no comment. It's directed to everybody, and I think every commissioner on this board ought to say it, you know. And the Bible tells us, for all things, be thankful. The staff that we have here, every department head, everybody that works for Bullitt County, on behalf of all the citizens, and myself especially, thank you for what you do. And I know you don't hear it enough. I certainly don't hear it enough. But I know you don't, and I'm nothing without you. I can't do anything without you, and neither can the citizens of this county. So I want y'all to carry that through the rest of the week. I want you to think about it, and I really want you to know you are cared for, and we do appreciate you.
I appreciate what you said, Mr. Toby. I've always said we always have the best staff in the Georgia, and I challenge anybody in Georgia to say we don't. We appreciate everything y'all do.
I'll just say amen.
The same.
All right, any other commissioner comments? If not, we're gonna move into this work session. Jeff, I just want to clarify, we don't need a motion to move into.
If I make more comments, we have to get up, take us longer to get to the work session?
We're gonna be here till we get done
I
regardless.
sure don't want to go in this work session.
No, so I don't think you need a motion.
All right, so let's move into this. I'm gonna go ahead and get, James, if you want to come up here and lead us through this. And just to let everybody know what's going on, this is, Bullock County has submitted a text amendment application requesting to modify text within the Bullock County Code of Ordinances Appendix C to include modifications to 202 definitions, 802 commercial and industrial principal uses, to include microbrewery and brew pub, 1,404 accessory dwellings, 1,414 church or place of worship, 1,426 home occupation residential, 1,439 planned residential developments with single-family or for two-family dwellings, including mixed-use residential developments, 1,453 go-kart, ATV, and motorbike track and trails, 1,454 microbrewery and brew pub, and 1,455 conservation subdivisions. And James is going to tell us about all this highly stimulating stuff.
All right, thank y'all for having me on a Tuesday morning, and hopefully any discussion we have today will speed things along in our December meeting when this is up for consideration. As I've just given you all a copy of the text amendment, it's exactly what we had in the November 4th meeting. And because there is so much information in this one, I do think it's beneficial to have a work session where, again, I can get feedback and, go back and change it or however y'all want me to do it. But, of course, there's always the option of to not pass it. You don't have to pass this. It's just items in here are things that the planning office has been looking at for a period of time that we felt like met the comprehensive plan's intent, the board's desire to introduce conservation subdivisions and other items that, we see day in and day out that would help us administratively. So I'm not sure where to begin. Just to say that, does the commission have any questions before I dive into it, or any specific items you want to talk about?
I'd just like to make a statement because I think there was a misconception about this, about a certain entity in the county that's having some problems. And this, I think Mr. Akins clarified this at the last meeting. This is not going to affect them. This is just, in other words, it doesn't affect them. I mean, I think that the misconception was that this was drawn up as an act to do something about what they're going through. This is for the future, to move forward. Am I correct?
That's correct, Commissioner Rushing.
I just wanted to clarify that because I know some of them were upset, like we were circling the wagons against them. But this is to move forward from now on, not go back in the past. So I just wanted to state that. Correct. Okay.
All right. Mr. Newkirk.
It's basically the same thing I had at the last meeting. I just don't think that we need to, and I might be the sole one, and I'm okay with that, but I just don't think with the conservation subdivisions, we need to think about taking that fact off that the county can take over that land. I think, it takes more property off the tax digest. Another thing, it gives the public works more work to do with littler money to do it with. So, and then also the ATV trail, I'd like to, like I said, I would like to see some of these things come off, but I might be the only one. And if that's the case, then it is what it is. But, those are just really the two issues I had with the whole setup, but that's really about it.
Okay. Given those 2 points, do we want to talk about specifically the conservation subdivisions and the mechanics of how, I guess, how the ordinance is structured in that the board would have sole discretion on whether or not to accept the property. So, if you wanted to, my thought was to have it in there just in the event that you had, potentially some open space that comes up through a conservation subdivision that may be in an area that, well, one, this would be an area where sewer would be provided. Currently, there's not really that much sewer in the county, so conservation subdivisions may be something for on down the road. But in those areas where you have sewer, you're gonna have growth, targeted growth. It's likely gonna be that you're gonna need additional park space as we grow to stay with our service level ratio that we have now. So it would be, in my opinion, a pretty good avenue to have the option to take on additional property for park space. Yes, you have to maintain it, but a lot of times we're looking at trails, open space. It's not, doesn't have to be an active, well, it wouldn't be an active playground or an active, like ball fields, things like that, but it's just additional park space that we would have as a county. But again, you'd have that discretion if it's somewhere not really central to where you want to have your growth or where you have your population for easy access to that property. I would just say, I would recommend that you not take it, but,
And
That's
you're
really
not
the
really
intent.
talking park space, just open conservation, green space, right?
right, with
I think
trails,
Commission may be
meadows.
getting hung up on, park. You're talking low maintenance, conservation, just open land.
Kind of like you have at the airport now where you have disc golf, you have trees and all that. You don't really have to maintain that, a forest so much as, cutting ball fields every week or something like that. So that would be the intent behind the conservation subdivision, is that you're preserving that property, and there's untold number of land trusts that the trust would hold the conservation easement for the land. Underlying landowner, being the county or an HOA, would own the property, but they just couldn't do anything with it in perpetuity. So it's not like you could get the property and then decide to build an annex or something down there, or, somewhere like that, but. So it's very, to Mr. Eldridge's point, it's typically low maintenance properties that we'd be looking at.
James, where else in the state have they done something like this conservation easement?
Really all over, a lot of the metro counties at least have it in their ordinance. I can't speak to how popular it is or will be here. That's, I guess, time would tell, but, I don't think it's not the silver bullet that's gonna preserve all green space in the county, but it's gonna help for sure. But this ordinance was largely based on, other counties' ordinances plus a model ordinance that came out probably 10 or 15 years ago, when conservation subdivisions were really picking up steam and being popular ways to preserve property. And in looking back, the secondary conservation areas are really driven, or can be driven, by local importance. So under secondary conservation areas, if we wanted to add existing agricultural land and working farms to that would mean that the farmland that you till up every year as an HOA, you could lease it out to a farmer and continue the farming on that property. And that's certainly allowed by a lot of the conservation easements that that I've researched. USDA has a conservation easement that focuses just on that, so you know, we could add that in there. We do have meadows and pastures, but just to spell out working farmland may be beneficial. But it's just a way to take what density is allowed in that current zone for the property, cluster it up, and save some property, so. And then, all right, before I move on to the next topic, any questions on conservation subdivisions?
So you're talking about the same density of houses, same houses per acre, acreage-wise, you're just allowing for dense clusters on the property,
That's correct.
right?
And so mechanically, how the application would come in, you'd have a surveyor or engineer draw up the theoretical plan of a subdivision, just how they would come in today, and say, I can develop this Ag 5 property, and it would include, on those, each 5-acre lot, they're gonna incorporate the wetlands as part of that property. They're gonna shave off as much usable land and put it into all the different parcels. And then you end up with, 30 different property owners of wetlands, and then that's not all, it's not saying that's a bad thing, but with this model, you can take that 30 property owners and have 30 houses in a much smaller area, which is, as we've drawn it up, akin to like an R80 lot size. So it makes the lot smaller. You have less input costs as a developer to build a road in a cluster area rather than going all the way to the back of a property that, is just going to prohibit a lot of the development. And I think that's what a lot of the developers look at, obviously, in cost inputs into a development. So if they can develop something in a smaller cluster on sewer, you're going to get, that's the trade-off. I mean, that's just the benefit of being able to do it. You save land. And as far as the tax question goes and the revenue potential from the HOA and the Board of Commissioners owning it, I did speak with the tax assessor's office after our last meeting, and they pretty much kind of put it akin to, you'll be collecting $3 or $4 as an HOA versus $0 in a Board of Commissioners held property. So the revenue that you trade off, it's really not that much in consideration, because the ownership of the property is not so much what they're taxing. They look at it as they have a conservation easement that's different from CUVA. It's different from what they place on it. It's a permanent easement. So whoever owns it is not really that much of a concern on the revenue side, according to the tax assessors. And of course, I had to clarify that with them for my sake, but. All right, any further questions on this item, conservation subdivisions? And for the go-kart, ATV, motorbike track and trails, again, the intent here was just moving forward, because we have had some issues that, while some of them have been private issues where private landowners had go-kart tracks, and we didn't shut them down or anything like that based on the go-kart, just racing go-karts or anything like that. But it did kind of open the eyes of the planning department that if you were to place a go-kart track near houses or whatever, you probably need to have some kind of regulation on it. So So that's, again, why we incorporated with go-kart and motorbikes in addition to ATVs, but a lot of these conditions you'll see used in other communities of similar to us where, like in the mountains, you may have problems with ATVs crossing streams that you have trout and things like that. It's a potential ecological issue. So here we've seen that stream crossings are just going across a creek with no design, and you're stirring up all the sediment in that creek, and the water flows by. You're carrying that sediment downstream to other property owners. And not only it'll be a violation of state law, but you're likely in the wetlands and cause an issue with the Army Corps of Engineers. So while again, some of it is spelled out in other law, I think it's easier to go ahead and put it in our ordinance that this is how it, these are items that have to be checked off. And like in number 11, is really just saying, you have to follow the Federal Clean Water Act, and you need an Army Corps of Engineer determination for the wetland areas before we approve a site plan for the trails. And that in itself, we've seen issues with that, so.
Number 11. It says generally a wetland determination by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. From personal experience, you can avoid a confrontation with the Corps of Engineers by getting a wetland determination made by a private firm, an environmentalist. Therefore, that would take any question out of it. It becomes the environmentalist question if the Corps disagrees with them. Now, if you're going to wait for the Corps of Engineers to show up and give you this delineation, you might not live long enough. But now, this is a situation that I think would clean that up, where the liability, if the county had any at all, this would be cleaned up prior to the Corps coming in.
I agree. You can certainly have a wetland delineation based on the Army Corps' delineation manual from going back to the 1980s, I think is the manual they use. But the determination by the Army Corps is their agreement that that data set is in fact wetlands, and that's what keeps you going to court. But we require for subdivision developers, when they file their preliminary plats, their construction plans, we make them wait for a determination by the Army Corps so that, again, we know their design is true and that they're not going to have any trouble down the road with the Army Corps. So I think that's really why we placed it at the level of determination by the Army Corps. So,
Mr. Pope mentioned racetracks a while ago, and I think County Attorney Jeff Akins and me and the ones that's been here for a while, we had to keep in here what you want and take out what you want. But it needs to be something, because we had a fellow that had a racetrack in Ag 5. You're allowed to do that with your personal go-karts and have you a racetrack for you and your children. Well, that, you don't have anybody to race unless somebody shows up to race your children. And I'm telling you, that thing like to drove us, Jeff Akins, and the county sheriff, because they raced. Of course, they had the right, because there wasn't an ordinance against them being able to race. And they was racing at 10, 11 o'clock at night, It's 5 acres now, but this farm had been sold off in 5-acre tracts. So they had neighbors on both sides, behind them and in front of them. And they was having a racetrack. And of course, I think finally the fella moved, but, so I just wanted to present that to the ones on the commission up here. ever how intense you want to make it or whatever, but they do need to be some of these things put in place because I know Mr. Akins remembers it well. The racetrack, don't you remember it well?
I do remember it. But I'm not sure this would apply in that situation if it's not a commercial,
In that instance, it would be
venture.
landowner use, so it would not apply to that particular person. But going back to what I said earlier, that really opened my eyes as far as what a go-kart track could be. And then
I'd-
racing at 2 or 3 in the morning with your neighbors, things like that, so.
I think the noise ordinance could apply in that situation, you know. I think we need to.
And this item it would remain a conditional use. So you'd have y'all would be looking at it again or before you approved it. But the standards, I think it kind of puts everybody on the same playing field in that, I mean, Mr. Akins asked me before, if it's conditional use, do we truly need those standards laid out like we have it presented? Again, you have an option that you could say no, and we would look at it, again, probably a lot of the same conditions with that use. But, again, having those standards in there kind of sets the tone for that use, and then from there on, we get to look at individual property concerns, so.
James, going back to Mr. Rushing's concern, and I know initially I had an issue with it, maybe, but originally you had some language in here about for commercial gain or organized, I can't remember exactly how it was phrased, but,
I think,
organized activity or something along those lines.
yeah, I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, which I was questioning whether that was too vague, but maybe if we put some language like that back in there, it could bring in, well, where did Mr. Rushing leave? Well, anyway, it would bring in the situation he was talking about, because that was clearly, that was an organized activity. They weren't just, individual family members and friends. I don't know, that may be something we might want to look at putting back in there.
Then we opened up, I think, what got it, well, why we pulled it out was, if you have looking at a hunting club or something with,
Yeah,
is that considered an organized use of ATVs that everybody shows up on Saturday and rides ATVs? But there may be a way to further spell it out, I don't know, but that goes to the intent of why it was in there.
right.
But then writing law, writing regulations is kind of tough when it brings in other outcomes that you don't necessarily look at. And this text amendment's been around since July, I hate to say, but planning and zoning looked at it for 3 months with good feedback. And so that's why I feel confident in bringing it to you all now. The other items in the text amendment really, I think, are fairly straightforward. I don't know that any of y'all have had any questions on those. Again, being able to have a parsonage at a church, things like that. Then the microbreweries, that, again, going to that use would mostly be at, in a highway it would be in a highway, commercial, or light industrial area. And then the architectural features for a home in planned subdivisions, again, your subdivisions that go before planning and zoning with anti-monotony facades, as further spelling out what we have in ordinance. And that, I think, meets the intent of items that we placed in the comprehensive plan. We did send this ordinance amendment to the Statesboro Home Builders Association, and they came back and had no comment. So, I mean, they did comment in that they had no comment, I guess. So, they didn't really see any problem with it in the ones that I talked to. So, again, it's further defining items that we already do in the ordinance, but, so, with that, any further questions?
Mr. Newkirk, you said you had some concerns about the ATV stuff. Do you want to discuss those now?
I was concerned about having to fence the entire track in. Their entire property, even if it's 500 acres. Because I think some of the trails, you can't even be within 50 feet of the trail anywhere or of the property line. That was one of them. And what kind of fence would it have to be? Very vague in that. One straight barbed wire do it, or you gotta do more than that?
I had
mean,
talked to Mr. Pope, and that's what we had kind of determined. I mean, as far as the ATV, I mean, you ain't fenced in animals or anything. You could take a couple of strands of barbed wire and go tree to tree if you wanted to. Just something to keep somebody from, because when you have people come over on, they don't know where your property line's at, and they'll be over on your adjacent property without some kind of guidelines. So I don't think we're talking about fencing in water. I think we're talking about maybe a couple of strands of barbed wire or something, just where the four-wheeler can't. Well, they got some kind of guidelines, and I mean, of course, you're gonna have some that's gonna go anyhow, but I mean, just some kind of something to do. I'm not necessarily saying nobody needs to spend no.
Would
put up-
fence be
put
the
up-
word, or posted? Be another term instead of saying fence. You know, like a fox den or like stuff like that through the, you know, you have to post your borders. Why wouldn't, I know now, like Tim Mr. Rusher said, if they wanna go, they gonna go. Now, it don't matter, it don't matter if you got a fence, it don't matter what you got. But I know that what the concern is some of it, well, you're gonna put them two strands of barbed wire out there, and then some 12-year-old's gonna run through a four-wheeler and be cut all to pieces.
Yeah, I wouldn't,
You're gonna have an issue there regardless. It posted with regulations, it being posted, that you leave that individual, no matter who that individual is, up to a certain degree of punishment. You know, I think you know, post a sign, they got to be every 100 feet or something like that, or 20, or 50 feet on a.
I mean, we could certainly do that.
Something instead of, I just don't see this wire and this fence. I mean, that could go south real quick.
Yeah, I don't think I would recommend barbed wire, but,
And the truth, that's not asking it too much. I mean, that's not putting a whole terrible burden on anybody to have 1,900 postage signs this big made, you know.
Well-
Like you said, what you said, if they gonna go across it, it don't make a difference fence or whatever, else, they gonna go through there, but, you know, posting borders does submit them to, their trespassing, just like we have to do those trespassing signs. You know, now you're outside those bounds, and you are subject to repercussion at that.
so
I just think it keeps us kind of a little different area.
So if we wanted to drop the fence and mirror what we say in the next item where it says quiet zones shall be clearly marked with signage visible to patrons, I mean, we could say that, the boundaries should also be marked.
Put boundaries in there too, and that's a lot less invasive than a fence, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And like I said, I wish I had a great answer to give you that would say, no, they're not gonna come past this point. Well, there ain't no such thing as one of those answers. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, it ain't gonna be. But I think it keeps the property owner in the clear with something like this, better than a fence. Like Mr. Rush, you can go tree to tree, or you can lay posts, but if you lay posts, you gotta build a right of way. You're talking about getting very expensive in a fence, very quick. I don't know, it's just an idea, y'all tell me what you think about it, I don't care.
No, I mean, I think that goes to the intent. Really, it's just to keep folks
Stay like it is.
that's approved to ride in an ATV park or motocross track, whatever, keep them in the boundary of the property. So I would agree that meets that intent, so.
I mean, like I said, I just throwing that out there, y'all could throw it off the table, or y'all can talk about it some more, I don't care, but I just think that's a little bit, I know if I was standing in those shoes and I was trying to put myself in, and me wanting to have a trail riding park, which I don't wanna have a trail riding park, and I never will have a trail riding park.
Yeah.
I don't ride my side by side but once a year, and that's full of soil samples, I hate the damn thing. But what I'm saying is, though, that's a little bit more, if I was in those shoes, I'd be a lot more agreeable to that than versus fence or anything like that.
James, in relation to a fence, what you don't need is a barbed wire fence.
Right.
That creates liability.
Yeah.
Now, in my experiences is, ain't nothing but a cyclone fence gonna keep a four-wheeler out, and that's going too far. Now, if I have trespassing on my property, call the game warden. The first thing he's gonna look at me and say, do you have it posted? That tells the person going across the line that he's in violation, he's trespassing. So that seems to be an equitable solution, is a posted sign that, and so many of them, so many feet distance between them where they're visible when they go across the line. Cause there ain't nothing but a cyclone fence gonna keep a four-wheeler out. I can attest to that.
And even if you want them signs, say, not setting on the property sign based on the property line, basically, them signs is, say, 25, 50 foot, well, you still in violation of trail riding or of this code. If you're up past those boundary signs, you might not have even made it to the other person's property yet, but you're violated, that's a violation, you know, and y'all do what you want to there, but I think give as much buffer as you can. If you're dealing with 400 acres, 25 foot, 50 foot ain't that big a deal.
He's got to go 50 more foot to trespass.
You know,
That's right.
That's kind of like a warrant.
and therefore now you keep your trails off from getting close to property lines. You keep it organized and centrally based instead of, you know, going from one boundary to the next, you know.
Right.
So I mean, that's just, like I said, but I think that would be, I'd be a lot more agreeable to that if I was in that business than a fence.
Yeah.
Just me.
No, I think that's great feedback. Now, that's what I'll modify, so.
And another thing would be like, something like that, your fire breaks. I mean, they could be posted on your fire breaks because a trail ride, something needs fire breaks on it anyway on account of cigarettes and spark arresters and bad bearings. I mean, you don't want to burn your neighbor's property off over 30 days, you know, I mean, so. And that's probably one of the cheapest things because the forestry will come out and do it for like, I ain't had nothing done in a while, but probably $100 an hour or something like that. They'll go around 300 acres in 2 hours and be gone. And then all they got to do is maintain their fire breaks. And then, of course, that'd be their property, that'd be their boundaries. And if something happens, then that's where the fire stops at, or that's the initial thinking anyway. And you can go along there and put your signs or whatever.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Any other item in that section specifically? Hours of operation, 10 PM on Friday and Saturday would be cutoff time.
What's the noise ordinance for the county? What time is that? At night, or is there a time on that at night?
There's a 10 and 11 built into that. I think it's,
I know it is, but I did get half fast, shut it down.
I'll let him read it, but.
And I can, relating to the noise ordinance, going back to the go-kart track, I forget what you call the meter, they measure the decibels with and all that, but they went out and everybody's porch, and it didn't meet enough decibels for the sheriff to be able to enforce the noise ordinance, so. And you talking about go-karts, just, I mean, them things just rev, so. I mean, I know the noise ordinance is a tool in the toolbox, but it's very weak, I can tell you that. We had a time with that thing out there. Was you here? Yeah, we had a time with that thing. I can't remember, where was it at, Jay?
Cleto, like you going 301. Dang it, I know that road is good, move on.
Yeah, it's,
It ain't Metz Road.
No, Ivy something? Not him, no. I know, old Lord Hammond lives out there, and we'll get all spots once and all from. Dang, what's the name of that road?
so again, the noise ordinance,
Ordinance, we'll just go ahead and we'll move on to the next
Okay.
item.
yeah.
Yeah, there's really not a time limit on the noise ordinance. It's any noise, any loud, unnecessary, or unusual sound or noise which either disturbs, injures, or endangers the comfort, repose, health, peace, or safety of a reasonable person, and which is audible to such person from a distance of 100 feet or more from the point of origin of the sound or noise. So it has to be audible from, if you're 100 feet away and you can't hear it, then it's absolutely not a violation of the noise ordinance. If you can hear it and it would disturb the peace or peace, health, safety, repose of a reasonable person, and that reasonable person standard is very important, because without that, the courts have held that it's unconstitutionally vague. But for some reason, when you put in reasonable person, that makes it not unconstitutionally vague. So it's really a matter of degree, but I think the time of day certainly is a factor in that. If you're hearing a noise during the middle of the day, it might not be as disturbing as if you're hearing that same noise in the middle of the night. So I think that plays into it. Now, there are certain specific examples that are considered violations that do have some time limits on them, but the general rule, I think a lot of people mistakenly think that it's got to be in this list, but this list is not exhaustive. These are just examples of violations. But
What's the latest in that list? Does it have a time associated with playing music and stuff?
let's see.
I just didn't know, like, county ordinance for that was at 10 o'clock, and we need to keep it at 10.
Yeah.
Till 11:30.
Music, amplifiers between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. is prima facie evidence of a violation. So I've got, in my neighborhood, there's somebody across the street that plays the drums in their garage, and I can hear it. It's more than 100 feet away, and I don't like it, because when I'm sitting on the front porch and I hear that, I'm trying to read and it disturbs me. My wife says I'm being overly sensitive, so she's more reasonable than I am. And probably that wouldn't be a violation during the middle of the day, afternoon. But if I could hear it in my house at midnight, then yeah, I think that would be a violation. So there's some, a lot of factors that play into it, but.
I was just trying to make sure the times lined up, and, if we had a noise ordinance or anything.
Right, and I've told our code enforcement, I think too, a lot of times people think, well, we can't cite somebody if we didn't hear it, if we're not there when it's going on. Well, that's not true. I mean, if you've got the complaining property owner, they're a witness. Now, if they're not willing to testify, I guess you could subpoena them, but typically what we would, if they're not willing to come testify, then we don't have any evidence, because The evidence is their testimony. But that's what you run into with a lot of these noise complaints. They are at times of the night when our people aren't going to be there to hear it. You know, but they don't necessarily have to be there to hear it. So.
Okay. So, again, thoughts on 10 PM versus?
I think 10's reasonable.
Okay.
I like to go a little later than that sometimes, but.
Okay, well, I just,
Don't call on us. Call.
just say there, okay. Well, that's really, I think, the points that y'all have asked before. So that gives me some clarification, some modification, and with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments or questions about anything that's in this text amendment before we wrap this work session up?
James, when can you get those changes to them just to make sure it's dialed in and we can get it passed in December?
I can have y'all a copy, I got planning and zoning tonight, maybe tomorrow.
Okay, and just highlight whatever changes you make from the input today, and then hopefully we wrap it up, put a bow on it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank y'all again. It was very helpful. Yep. And if I might, anytime y'all have any issues that y'all want me to look at in the ordinance, I would say pass along to Mr. Eldridge and we'll take a look at it. So, yep. Thank you.
So that concludes our regular business for this meeting. We're going to go into executive session. There will be no action taken after this executive session. And we will just come out and adjourn. But I'll go ahead and read the legal statement here. I must now call for a motion to adjourn into executive session in accordance with the provisions of OCGA 50-14-3 B1B, and other applicable laws pursuant to the advice of County Attorney Jeff Akins for the purpose of discussing real estate. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. We are now in executive session.